Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What is up? What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show. This is a sports show, just to remind you. And welcome. We're back in the mix. I'm rolling solo today, so don't worry. I got you. Mo be back. And I know, people going to be like, oh, where's Mo? Where's Mo? He'll be back. Right? But you're in good hands with your man, Jelani JB, Bodie. And before we get started, before we do anything, there's two things that I want to really touch base on before we jump into these sports topics. One is make sure you are turned on to liking, subscribing, and turning on your notifications, and make sure you share out there as well, man. I appreciate it. Anybody that we get new, right? Join the family so we all can chop it up and talk about sports. The other thing, I want to give you an update because you heard me last week. We're in the final week of the Wait a Minute Show toy drive, so that is complete. I turned off the donation machine. We're in the point now where we're going and grabbing toys and finishing up so I can deliver them to Helping Hands of Paulding County. But I'm glad to announce that we reached $2,827, right? $2,827, which we got a plethora of stuff already, which I'm going to put a video out to show you what we got the kids and everything. So check that out. But appreciation to everybody out there that contributed, everybody that talked about it, everybody that let me use their platform, everybody that even share everything, anything and everything. Because this does not happen just by myself. It takes us coming together to make this thing happen. So again, I just want to thank everybody. $2,827 going to the Wait a Minute Show toy drive. And it's going to be some happy kids, right? So let's get into our first topic. And the first thing is I'm going to talk about my team that's in the back, right? Dan Campbell, right? Obviously, we saw the game, Detroit Lions versus the Buffalo Bills. And, there's a lot of other stuff that the Lions are dealing with. But obviously, the one thing that Dan Campbell is being approached with or talked to about, or have been talked to about, and people will probably talk about it for another day or two, is his decision to go for an onside kick at the 12-minute mark of the fourth quarter, right? A little bit too early, I think some people are saying. And I'm going to be honest, I agree with that. I'm not going to dispute. And I think Dan Campbell came out and just said, I guess if he had to do it a little bit different, he probably wouldn't have, went for it. But yeah, this was one. I still roll with it. It's just it is what it is. I got to deal with it. I told you, anything that happens with Dan Campbell in the decision making process, you have to just deal with it. You have to ride with it, and you got to believe like he believes. Now, the only thing I will say, and this is not because the Lions lost, because when they had initially announced this rule, I think it may be revisited at the end of the season as far as having to announce that you are doing an onside kick. I think that's one. I didn't like it when they first, put it out. But then also the other rule that I don't like, and then again, this doesn't even apply to the Lions in situation, so that's why I don't want people to get it twisted that I'm upset because I'm not, is that if you're the team that's up, you can't run an onside kick. Now, if I'm correct on that, that was another thing at the beginning of the season. I'm like, that's just weird, right? That's just weird. But going back to Dan Campbell, it didn't work out. And I think that, they shouldn't have did it when it happened because I just felt that the Lions, they were still able to apply pressure. I know, there's a bevy of injuries on the defensive side. No one was able to stop Josh Allen. He was a one-man wrecking crew. But I think it was pressure still being put on the Buffalo Bills to say, you know what, you're going to have to continue to score. Can you continue to score and put Sean McDermott and I think it's Joe Brady in a compromising situation? Make them think about it. Make them, make the mistake. I think that was the part that was missing in that from Dan Campbell and going for it early because they still got back into the game late. They still were able to put pressure. Now, just think if they don't give up that touchdown, maybe what happens? You don't know. Buffalo might have could have scored still, but we'll never know. But this is one of those things where I am hoping Dan Campbell is going to, look at that and say, maybe, in the next situation, I don't have to be as risky. My team's going to ride with me. Everybody's going to ride with me, whatever it is that I do. But it doesn't have to be that way each and every time. And I'm sure there's some things that he did say, that he wasn't going to do, or you say, I'm not going to take that risk. But this is just something everybody's been waiting. Everybody's been waiting. I know how Pat Mahomes feels now. I know exactly how Pat Mahomes and some other, top-notch athletes, feel. Because when everybody is just waiting for you to fail, to say, ha ha, I told you. I told you. The one time, it doesn't work. So it just comes with the territory. Dan got to deal with it, but you move on to next week. They still got a great opportunity to finish up with the 1 seed. They play San Fran, Chicago, and Minnesota. And actually, not in that order. I think Chicago, San Fran, and Minnesota is how it goes out. So they still got a chance. Now, they got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. And this one with David Montgomery hurts a lot. But they still can get the job done. And Dan Campbell has to, just like the team, you have to play better, you have to be better, you have to make, better decisions and everything. Goes for the coach as well. And he knows that. And they'll, go and do the necessary things that need to be done. So it's one game. Let's move on. Can't do anything else about it now. But what you can do is what you can do something about what is in front of you. So I guess if some people are out there happy that Dan Campbell, made a mistake, and I guess they'll say it cost the Lions a victory. Hey, I guess they're here to help, right? So let's move into some college football news. No surprise to myself, might have been to some people, but Travis Hunter end up pulling out the win for the Heisman. So all this stuff, as far as like at the beginning of the season, in the middle of the season, actually, towards the end of the season, that people were saying, hey, this is not necessarily Travis's lose. He or it's not a lot for Travis. That's all dead it now, right? He was announced as the winner. So congratulations to Travis Hunter, first off. And here's what I want to say, about Travis being selected, as the Heisman. Do not get it twisted. One, Shedeur should have been in there. I think we all know that. But the other contestants that was in this competition, and normally all the contestants that's in the Heisman running, they have a case. Obviously, there's sometimes one that's more than the other. And the guy played both sides of the ball at a high level. At a high level. This is not he went out there and he just did reps and he played on defensive end. He played on the offensive end of the ball. This dude actually had games where he had a pick and he had a touchdown. There's some DBs that don't even get a pick for 2, 3, 4 games, right? And this dude getting a pick and scoring touchdowns. So you can't deny that. You can't say I know Genty had an awesome year at the running back position, but this is something that no one has ever seen. And Genty he has every right to feel that he should have won. Absolutely. I'm not going to dispute that. I'm not going to say he's crazy or anything like that. But it was really up against something. If this was any other year, yes, I do believe he probably wins, hands down. But we saw something that we never saw. Someone play on both sides of the football at a high level at those reps, as far as like what Travis Hunter was doing. And I don't think you can, even the other awards that he won, but it's hard to dispute that, right? So that is why Travis Hunter won the award. High level entertainment, but high level performance as well on both sides of the ball. So it is what it is. What we got next here? We're gonna move on and talk about Patrick Mahomes. I mentioned him earlier, right? I mentioned him earlier. Patrick Mahomes comes up with a high ankle sprain in the game against the Cleveland Browns, right? I saw this game. I was watching this game, and I was, that don't look good, because Pat was on the ground, a few times, but he got up. And I don't know if this one just really took the cake, but he stayed down, and I said, that's not good. And obviously he gets up and he's limping off the field. So obviously the question marks are going to be, is Pat going to play? What's going to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs? Is it gloom and doom? It's not gloom and doom, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Mahomes, I wouldn't be surprised if he missed a game or two, right? Now, the last 3 games that they have the Houston Texans, they have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then they finish the season against the Denver Broncos. Now, they do have a 2-game lead on the Buffalo Bills right now, and we know Buffalo, beat them head to head. Do not sleep on Carson Wentz, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to be honest. Let's not forget Carson Wentz was in the running for MVP before he got hurt when they went on that magical run to the Super Bowl where Nick Foles took over, and got them to the Super Bowl and they won the Super Bowl. I think Carson Wentz as well is a guy from that. That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone. It's already a lot of pressure when you're your second overall pick because remember, he went behind Jared Goff. And we've seen what Jared Goff has went through and how he's been able to bounce back. We've seen what Sam Darnold's went through and how he's been able to bounce back. What both of those guys have, they got somebody in their corner that's going to be able to coach them, right? Be able to coach them to their strengths. And Andy Reid, I fully believe, will be able to. So Kansas City could put Carson Wentz in there for 2, maybe 3 of the games that they play. And remember, it's not on Carson Wentz because we were just talking about Patrick Mahomes. That Patrick Mahomes is not the Patrick Mahomes he was before. He's not throwing 400 or 500 yards and 6,000 TDs, right? They are playing defensive football, running the ball. And then at times when Pat needs to be Pat, Pat is Pat. So they're going to put Carson out there if he plays. They're going to put Carson out there and they're going to put him in a good position. Carson is a mobile quarterback. Carson is going to make the right decisions. And Carson knows more than anything. This is the great part about it. It's not on him to be Superman. Just keep the machine running. They have won all these games by 7 points or less. So he knows I don't need to do everything. And I think people are going to be surprised as far as like what Carson Wentz does. Is he going to go out there and sling it around and put up all these stats? I don't see that happening. But in the system in which he is working, I think he will be able to be fully functionable, and be serviceable. And the Kansas City Chiefs still can be a threat. I can see them winning 2 of the last 3 games. Maybe one of those games, that they don't get. So let Pat rest. If in dire situation you need him to play, then that's when you play. Because at this point, they're playing for a Super Bowl, right? They're playing for the playoffs. All that, regular season stuff and everything. We're going to take care of business like we need to, but we're going to get it done. And then Carson Wentz is going to be the guy. So I believe in Carson Wentz. I know people are going to be like, you're crazy, Jelani, but I believe in him. In comparison to some of the other quarterbacks that we've seen out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the other quarterbacks we've seen out there in the league, I'm not talking about on Kansas City because Chad Henne was there. Chad Henne was able to, provide them with some substantial play. So, yeah, I fully believe Carson Wentz can get the job done for a short period of time. So don't worry about it, Chiefs fan. Don't worry about it. Another thing don't worry about is beef, right? Beef, battling, problems. We didn't see any of that this past week with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And if you've noticed, if you follow the show, I haven't said anything about it when everybody was talking about it. And there's a reason why I didn't say anything about it. It was about nothing. It was much to do about nothing. Last week, they asked A.J. Brown a question about what, need to get better. He said passing. Passing. A.J. Brown knows what time it is. We're almost at the end of the season. We don't got time to be trying to get stuff together when the playoffs come because that's how we got shellacked last year. That's how we got handled before. We don't got time for that. We got to get that together. So maybe he was talking about Jalen a little bit, but he wasn't pointing a finger at Jalen. And here's the other thing. Even if he was upset, I'm sorry. This is not the first time we've seen teammates be a little perturbed at each other or not be on the same page. Everybody made so much about nothing. And that's why I didn't even say anything because it was about nothing. They come back out here. They have a good game. They do the kid and play. Hopefully people peep that out of what they did. And everything is good. You got brothers, you have sisters, you have cousins, you have aunts, uncle, wives, husbands, really good friends. You do not be on the same page with them 24 hours a day. Same thing. They could have just not been on the page for a hot second, and they're good. They don't hate each other. AJ still want Jalen to be his quarterback. Jalen still want AJ to be his wide receiver. Chill, everybody. Chill. And I'm going to say this too. I don't know if my man Brandon Graham should have had to apologize. Maybe I'm wrong about that because of who BG is. He talks all the time. And sometimes we all got that friend. We all got that friend. Sometimes they just say stuff and it's like, man, what are you doing, bro? Like, they be like, probably shouldn't have said that, huh? I didn't mean nothing like that, That's all BG was doing, man. He wasn't sparking nothing and all that stuff. It's all about trying to be a good teammate and handle it off the field or on the sidelines because he's not playing. So stall him out if y'all was giving him a problem. But that was much about about nothing. Nothing. Now everything's gonna be good. But they still got to be in sync and all that stuff. None of that stuff changed, but there's no beef there. I think a lot of people just wasted their time with that. This last thing that I'm gonna talk about, interesting. And this happened Thursday night on Thursday Night Football. Rams were playing the 49ers, and you already know the whole story about Devondre Campbell not wanting to go into the game. Obviously, that did not go well or rub his teammates the right way. Just announced that Devondre Campbell has been suspended for 3 games. Now, originally, Kyle Shanahan was talking about that he probably won't be on that team. And I think someone got in their ear and they said, wait, look at this. Because if we suspend them, maybe we can get back some of our signing bonus. Maybe we can. This is that business side kicking in right now of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. And I just believe that it was, nobody probably wants to play with him anymore on San Francisco team. I don't know what this means for the future for Devondre. It's going to be tough because people aren't going to look at it in a positive light, but he could still get on. Probably there's a chance he still could get on the team. But I think right now is that San Francisco is wanting to only to him to send a message to say, hey, if you're going to do some stuff like this, we need to make sure we set the example that that's not going to be going on here. That's not going to be tolerated. That's not going to happen. And I think with this route, it was just like, yeah, how can we affect him? Yeah, we could cut him. He don't care anymore. We could cut him. But if we hit his pockets, that might be different. So maybe that's what San Francisco was thinking on that matter. But this is business side right now. This ain't nothing about the team. This ain't nothing about camaraderie or anything like that. This is business and sending a message. And it's not, they won't be the first organization to try and send a message to someone or get some get back, right? We're going to get some get back through your pockets if we can. Teams do it, have done that. But at the end of the day, it's a sad situation. It's not a good situation. Not something that you want to see. Not something I want to see, from Devondre. Not something I want to see from the San Francisco 49ers, right? Because I think at the end of the day that all these teams or the team and the player would have rather it probably transpired, a different way. So I don't take any joy in seeing, something like this. I wish it could have been maybe, before it got to that, just having a conversation. And we've seen other guys, just say, hey, let's just part ways, X, Y, and Z. I go my way, y'all go your way, and we don't talk, we don't talk about it anymore. So it's a thing that got played out in public that wasn't good. And I don't like all that, gossip, everything. But because everybody had been talking about it, I need to bring it up. But yeah, I do think this is the business side of things. So that's my thought about it. So we're going to end it there. Once again, I want to thank everybody for the donations to the Wait a Minute Show toy drive. And I didn't say this at the beginning. We helped 19 kids this year, right? Took care of 19 kids. And it's going to be a really, really happy holiday for them. We got some nice stuff. Again, I told you I'll give you an update on that as well. But until then, y'all tune in next episode. Like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. And two things as always, stay positive and push forward. And I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.